Oh, great. Zheng, it's good evening to you and good morning to my students in Taiwan. Zheng, I'm super happy to have you with us today, and you're going to share how and why you become interested in biology and related fields, and the competitions you have joined and the experiences you have accumulated over the years. And I look forward to hearing your story. Zheng, could you please briefly introduce yourself?
Oh yeah, so my name is Zheng, like Ms. Daisy mentioned.
Yep.
I'm a student at West Lafayette Junior Senior High School in the U.S. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity that Ms. Daisy has provided me for to share my experiences with you guys, and also talk about, like she mentioned, how I kind of got into research as a high schooler, and also in this biology field.
So Zheng, shall we begin?
Oh yeah, sure. So to talk about some of my early interests in biology, in my first and second grade, I actually did my schooling in Taiwan. So I was part of this insect club, and that was where I was able to get a lot of this experience with raising different types of insects, such as praying mantises, as you can see with the picture. So I got a lot of this experience, and also kind of like interest with these creatures. So I read a lot of these books. So I have this mantis book that's from Taiwan. I also watched a lot of National Geographic videos, which kind of made me even more interested in how these different types of animals have such unique features. So I also went on several field trips with my family. So we went to different areas in Taiwan. There was the streams, and also near the oceans, where I was able to dig for clams, catch crabs, and also look at the really beautiful environment and ecosystem there.
Let me shortly explain it to the audience. 先跟大家说明一下，就是今天请来的很珍贵的来宾郑琦。郑琦现在是美国的高中生，可是实际上郑琦刚刚也有说，他的小一、小二是在台湾度过的。所以郑琦刚刚说，其实他在台湾的小一、小二的时候，实际上是有参加昆虫社，也因为这个经验，所以他发现自己其实对动物啊、昆虫啊是非常有兴趣的。而且刚刚郑琦有说，他们家如果出来玩耍的时候，他也会有一些机会可以去挖螃蟹啊、挖蛤蜊啊这样子，所以他觉得都是很有趣的，对他来说很有意义的经验。而且他自己也会去看所谓的 National Geographic， 就是那种国家地理杂志的影片啊什么的。然后那到了他真的去了美国读书以后，那他就更继续的去追求他在生物啊相关方面的学习。Please continue.
Yeah. So during my freshman year of high school, so during 2020, so that was when the pandemic was really kind of impacting the school life. So I had a lot of time on my hands because most of my school was online, and I had this opportunity to kind of go more in depth into what I wanted to do as a future career, so I could start planning for it and then help make some goals for my high school. So that's when I realized that my interest in biology could actually be really applicable to a career in medicine because of how much this anatomy and physiology could like coincide with, like I mentioned, the biochemistry and molecular biology topics that I'm really interested in.
刚刚郑琦有说，他其实在2020年的时候，因为台湾实际上我们进入所谓的软性封城啊，然后大家必须要线上教学学习，是2021。可实际上在2020的时候，因为郑琦是在美国，所以他们实际上是2020的时候，因为 COVID 的关系，所以他们其实也是经历过封城，然后郑琦必须要在线上上课或者是在线上自习，所以实际上郑琦是在那个时候开始发现自己对生物这方面的兴趣，说不定可以 applicable， 就是可以转换成他可以去考虑追求可能是医学相关的领域，可能是可以申请这个方面的科系的。Yes, please.
So moving on, so that's when I started to kind of build like a more solid foundation for myself, so that I would kind of have the confidence and the backing to kind of pursue research as a high schooler. So I self-studied a lot of these science courses with books like the ones on the right, so molecular biology of the cell, and also Campbell's biology. So these basically covered a little bit of background knowledge that I needed to get started with this. And I also joined several extracurricular activities for this research. So I joined a lot of these school science clubs to kind of have an environment where a lot of the other students in the club have a lot of goals similar to mine, so we could help each other and kind of create an environment where we're able to pursue these goals together. Yeah.
刚刚郑琦提到一个非常重要的，就是他实际上在自学这个部分，他实际上花了很多的心力之外，然后他参加了所谓的 science clubs， 所谓的科学相关的那些社团，然后在这些社团里头有其他的成员，他们就可以一起交流啊，然后一起成长，一起学习。他觉得这个对他来说也是一个非常非常重要的事情。郑琦 ，I would like to know a little bit more about your self-studying experience because I find it really crucial. Like students in Taiwan, I would not say all of them, but some of the students in Taiwan, they assume that teachers would be the main source of knowledge to them. They, as long as they stay focused and listen to what the teacher is teaching, and that's enough, which is not true, right? I mean, you have to spend even more time absorbing everything or try to, deepen your learning on your own. 对，郑琦 could you, share a little bit more about your self-studying experience and how you think of it?
Yeah, so I think this was so important because in order to kind of understand the concepts behind like the research that I do currently, it was really important that I kind of have like a really solid understanding almost to kind of like an undergraduate level, and that wasn't really provided for me in my freshman and sophomore years because I couldn't take those kind of college level classes yet. So I was able to kind of do that on my own, like you mentioned, with these textbooks and also these online resources where I'm able to kind of get, I would say, like do it on my own instead of relying on others. And now actually this year that just gone by was my junior year, so my third year of high school. And I was able to take some of these biology and chemistry classes that are kind of the high school level, and that actually made it a lot easier for me, that prior studying. So it made it so that I could get through the year with far less studying since I was already prepared with that background. So that also helped me in that way.
刚刚郑琦说到一个很重要对，先跟大家说，郑琦读的高中是4年制的，对，所以他现在是在他的高中的第3年。那刚刚郑琦的意思是说，他现在在做的很多的科学研究，如果单单只是靠他在学校里头高1、高2的那个学习是不足够的。也就是说，郑琦为了做他自己的科学研究，他实际上必须要去自学自读很多很多的书，或者是去参考很多的线上的资料。而他觉得这个经验对他来说很重要，因为他实际上是在读这些额外的书，或者是在搜寻这些额外的线上资源的时候，他开始为了自己的学校的学习也做了很多的预先准备。比如说，他说他现在在学校的第3年，他实际上有很多东西对他来说就不是那么的困难或吃力，因为他实际上已经先读过了，对 ，which is really important. I mean, you get to study a lot, and that prepares you for further study, and it definitely helps with your schoolwork as well, which is really important. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, kind of like wrapping up this slide. After I kind of did these like beginning things, that's when I started reaching out to the local university. So I live in West Lafayette, so that's next to Purdue University. So it's really convenient for the high schoolers at my school, especially to actually find these opportunities. Some of my fellow students are able to actually do this research as well. So that's when I started looking for volunteer and internship opportunities.
对，这点要先跟大家说，因为志奇刚刚有说，他们家的附近是那个 Purdue University， 就是美国算是相当有名的一所大学，所以他们家就住在Purdue University 附近。那他读的那个高中也在这个大学的附近，所以他们实际上在找所谓的实习啊，或者是志工的那个经验的机会的时候，都会先去 Purdue University 去找。所以郑琦觉得这是一个很棒的事情，就是他实际上是可以在 Purdue University 找到所谓的实习的机会，或者是志工的机会。他觉得这个是他觉得很棒的。对，郑琦 I mean, like in Taiwan, in our high school system, we don't really have AP courses, but I actually find them really crucial and important. And also what you mentioned, I mean, you're being able to have an internship or have a volunteer experience in Purdue University. That's also very crucial. I mean, in Taiwan, if we could have students take those AP courses or have them do internship in universities nearby, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, I agree. The AP courses kind of allow us to kind of see what's going to be at the college level kind of a little bit beforehand. So I think that's also fun.
因为刚刚正奇说，其实所谓的在美国的 AP courses， 就是比如说你某些科目，像如果是正奇的话，他可能会修的是 biology 的 AP courses， 他可能就会去上生物的AP courses。AP courses 他说比较接近的是大学的程度的课程，所以你可以透过这个机会，可以先去体验看看、感受看看大学的时候会读些什么。他觉得这个实际上是很重要的经验。然后我刚刚跟正奇是说，我觉得如果在台湾的学生，如果他对某个领域特别有兴趣，那我们可以让他就近的在附近的大学可以去上这些先修课程，或者是去有机会可以去实习，或者是像他说的去做志工，我觉得会是很棒的经验。对，Let's continue.
Yeah. So this is kind of after I started with my research. So my first year, I didn't have that much experience yet, so I first shadowed a graduate student around with his project to kind of get this experience with laboratory techniques and also kind of how to approach different experiments so that you get favorable results and actually meaningful results. So that gave me a lot of valuable insight into how scientific investigation is actually done in the real world. And also, I tried my best to attend as many science competitions, conferences, and seminars as much as possible so I could also get that experience. So these science competitions were actually really important for me in terms of my self-studying because it actually gave me motivation and kind of like a final goal for my studying. So like I mentioned, I participate in this the USA Biology Olympiad. So that's kind of a big test where you go against other high schoolers, and it's like kind of long. And basically you need a lot of this biology background, as I mentioned, in order to do well in that. So that allowed me to, because I wanted to do well in this competition, then I would want to study more, and so then I got an even more solid understanding.
对，因为刚刚正奇用了一个字，大家可能有注意到，就是 shadow 当做动词。当你用 shadow somebody 或者 shadow something 的时候，像比如说刚刚正奇的意思是，在他自己高中1年级的时候还很懵懂的时候，他实际上会去 shadow， 会去模仿或者是去一样画葫芦那些大学生是怎么做研究的，然后他觉得这个很棒，就是让他至少有一个模板可以参照。那刚刚正奇也有说，实际上他非常非常认真跟热衷参加各式各样的科学竞赛啦，或者是论坛啦，或者是会议啦。因为其实在这个之中，他会很清楚的意识到他自己也是有一个目标的，就是他很想要去达到某个目标。那他觉得这些不管是比赛啦，或者是论坛，对他都是很重要很重要的经验。而且刚刚那个正奇有说，他有参加美国版本的 Biology Olympia， 就是所谓的生物这个领域的奥林匹亚。那他觉得这个比赛的参加的经验，让他去不断的扩充自己的生物知识的相关背景，对他觉得是很重要的一个过程。对。
And so also another really important part of this like competition experience I got was in the science fairs. So that's where you kind of present your research to others and talk to other students about their own projects. So I feel like this is kind of like my favorite part of like my high school life because I'm able to talk to a lot of people with similar interests and also get a lot of feedback on my ideas with the judges that are talking to me during these fairs.
我觉得刚刚正奇提到一个很重要的，他说其实所谓的去参加科学竞赛啦，或者是科学展览啦，他自己最享受的一个部分是当你把你的成品的可能是海报啦，或者是实际的模型啦放在现场的时候，然后会有很多人来问你这个作品是怎么出现的啊，或者这个过程中你有一些什么心得啦感想，或者是那些真的来评分的教授也会想要听听看你在做这些实验啦，或是研究啦背后的这个历程。那正颖的意思是说，他在跟教授评分的教授，或者是跟这些想要多知道的这些其他的学生的讲解的过程中，他自己觉得收获很多。对。 Yeah, 郑琦, I would also find it really a really crucial experience to be able to explain to others, how you come, up with this whole result thing. That I think is really crucial. Yeah.
Like talking with the other people and presenting your work.
Yeah, that's more like a reflecting opportunity for you to like review the whole thing you have done, and to actually see your own project in a more clear perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And so I'd like to talk about a little bit of my first experience, my first year at this international science fair. So I found that this was a really big learning experience for me, especially, and it helped me kind of change my mindset and become like better at, first of all, not having overconfidence, and also realizing there's really strong people, not just the people in my, what I mean was like there's like really strong projects everywhere, and it helped me learn how to deal with disappointment and kind of achieving that. Yeah.
郑琦呢，接下来要讲一个非常非常重要的，对他自己，然后我觉得其实对台湾的学生也应该是一个很值得去了解的一个比赛，叫做 ISEF。那 ISEF 如果我们简单的说叫做国际科展，对。然后郑琦说，实际上 ISEF 的参赛经验对他是很重要的，而且郑琦他很幸运，他参加了2次 ISEF， 对，所以大家会先听到郑琦的第1次 ISEF 的经验，然后接下来会听到第2次的 ISEF 的经验，大家可以知道说他在这2次的过程中有一些什么不一样。但是先讲一个小结论，就是郑琦其实是因为这个 ISEF， 然后实际上对自己的未来啦，或者是对自己现在在做的事情，实际上都有了更清楚的认知。对，所以郑琦 ，Can you further explain ISEF?
Yeah. So ISEF is like this science competition where you present your project, and then it's from like people from all over the world will be there as well. And so when I first went there my first year, so the 2022 ISEF, I realized that I had a lot of overconfidence because at my state competition, I placed really well. So I thought my project was very good. But once I got there, I realized that my project was not that good compared to the other people. So I actually failed to place at all in my category. So that gave me a lot of determination to improve for next year. And I also found that it was a good learning experience for my personal goal setting, because that year when I set my goal for what I wanted to accomplish with the science fair, I just said to myself, I just wanted to do good at the state level. So when I made the ISEF, I was kind of surprised, to be honest. So I wasn't able to kind of have the mindset to do well there because I was already so happy to have made it.
I find your point really interesting. 刚刚郑琦有说，他说实际上他在这个第1次的 ISEF 的经验的时候，因为他们在美国的话，到你真的能够参加这种能够看到其他国家的代表的 ISEF 的时候，实际上你是先经过了所谓的 state competition， 所以实际上郑琦是在州的那个比赛的时候就已经拿到非常好的成绩，然后他说那个时候有那么点 overconfidence， 就是有点自信心爆棚，觉得自己的东西很棒很厉害，但实际上是真的到了全国的那个等级，然后看到别的国家的作品的时候，才发现哇，人外有人，天外有天哈。但是刚刚郑琦自己也说，但是他实际上对于自己能够在state competition 就在州的这个等级的比赛的时候，就已经能够拿到好成绩这件事情，他自己觉得已经达到了他的目标了。所以他对于真的进了那个所谓的全国赛的时候，没有拿到名次，反而没有那么的失落，因为他知道说他其实已经在 state competition 州的这个比赛的时候，已经得了他非常非常满意的名次了。对，郑琦 I think it's a really interesting process. I mean, you get to, first become a little bit overconfident, but then you have reached a certain goal for that stage of your life, and then you decide to like study further and research further to come up with something better, and I find that's really, really good. I mean, to prove how, devoted and enthusiastic you are.
Yeah, I think it's important to always like set newer goals so that it's possible to like reach a higher point, and that's what I'm covering in the second part.
Oh, okay.
So I had this shift in mindset for my second year. In instead of just wanting to do good at the state competition, I realized I knew all of these, what these kind of the level of competition at the ISEF now. So I'm more prepared and I have experience, and I think this experience is the most important thing because you know what to expect. And so for that year, I focused a lot on project improvement and also presentation practice. And I think that the presentation practice was the most important part because the first year I did it, I kind of messed up my speaking with the judges, so I wasn't able to communicate clearly my project. I felt that was mostly due to the fact that when I saw these other projects, I thought my project was worse, so I lacked the confidence to answer their questions. So this year when I did it, I first used ChatGPT to actually ask myself questions about my own project. So that helped me build confidence to answer a lot of these questions. And I got really comfortable with presenting my work to others, so that made it easier for me and more kind of so that it was not as difficult for me to kind of express my ideas.
刚刚郑琦提到了一个我觉得很重要的东西。郑琦说，实际上在第一次的 ISEF 的经验，他自己在回想的时候发现，其实是在讲解说明他的这些实验的背后啊，数据的背后的时候，他发现，因为他那个时候因为看了别人的作品，觉得太厉害了，所以他有那么点慌张乱掉了，然后所以他有那么点缺乏自信 （lack of confidence）， 然后所以在跟教授讲解的时候，他自己觉得没有那么的流畅，没有那么的清楚，他觉得这个可能也是第一次 ISEF 没有能够得到名次的最主要的原因。那郑琦刚刚有说，他说实际上这一次第二次经验之后，他觉得其实他就比较没有那么的慌张，而且他还透过 ChatGPT， 就是他用 ChatGPT 去模拟一些问题，然后这些问题他还自己试着去回答，所以他反而觉得他在这一次第二次的 ISEF 的时候，他的回答是好很多的。So practice does make perfect.
Yeah, so making yourself as comfortable as possible is really important. So like this year I was able to place much better because of like more I think preparation on my part.
所以郑琦就说也因为经验有了，他比较不慌张了，也更自信一点了，然后也多练习了，所以他说他第二次的 ISEF 的那个名次，他就觉得是有进步的，而且进步很多。
对。Yeah. So I'd also like to talk a little bit more about like the ISEF experience and like kind of some highlights about it. I thought I really enjoyed the part I like the most is actually the pin exchange, where you're able to talk to other people from the countries. So you can see a picture at the bottom that it's like the international shout out. So the people from all the different countries are on that stage, and then you get to see them. And afterwards you can like talk to everyone. And then since they're in fields that aren't the same as yours, you're able to kind of get experience in what other people are doing, not just in like your specific area, but also in like a wide variety.
郑琦有说，他说实际上这个ISEF 的经验里头有一个部分他非常非常的喜欢，也就是因为 ISEF 他会有来自全世界各个国家的选手，而且他做的东西可能不是像郑琦做的同一个领域，所以他说在这样子的一个场合，这样子的一个地方，你是有机会可以去跟这些不同的国家的人，而且这些不同的国家的高中生，他可能做的领域跟你完全不一样，可是你们却可以透过交流啦、聊天啦，然后可以知道彼此真的在做研究啊、做实验的时候会经历的不同的东西。I also find this really interesting. You get to meet, high schoolers from other countries, and even if they're doing very different things from yours, you still get to learn and have a good time.
Yeah, it was very cool because I got to meet some students from Taiwan as well because they were there. Yeah.
所以郑琦实际上在这个比赛 ISEF 的时候，也是有遇到一些台湾选手的。How would you describe the Taiwanese students that you met?
Oh, they were very smart. Yeah, their projects were all excellent.
他说在 ISEF 这个比赛遇到的台湾学生，都非常非常的聪明，对，所以他说这个是让他对有印象的事情。对，郑琦 ，please， 对。
So I'd also like to talk about a little bit my extracurriculars and what like kind of students in high school in the U.S. Do. So I swim on the school team and also like to play piano. And I also am the president of this club, the table tennis club. So when I was little, I played a lot of table tennis in Taiwan, and that sport isn't that popular in the U.S. So when a lot of my friends at my school, they also like it a lot because we had this like brief period of time during our physical education class where we played the game. They wanted to have more time playing it, so I was able to talk to the school administration to set up this club and then be able to meet during the club time to play table tennis. So I thought that was really nice.
正奇的不过正奇刚刚也说，就是所谓的 extracurricular activities， 就所谓的校外活动，实际上对美国的高中生是很重要的，就是 they don't just study， 对 they actually do a lot of the other things after school， 对，所以正奇就说，实际上他自己呢也很热衷这些所谓的校外活动、课外活动，比如说他闲暇的时候是会弹钢琴的，然后他自己呢也是游泳校队，然后他在台湾的时候因为有打过几年的桌球，然后结果在美国的高中，他们某一次有机会可以一起打一打桌球的时候，也有一些同学觉得他们更想要多了解一点这个运动，所以正奇就去跟学校申请成立那个桌球社，然后正奇就成为了桌球社的社长。对 ，This is interesting. You get to be promoting table tennis in your American high school.
Yeah, and I found a lot of students enjoy it because now we have around like 40 members, and it's increasing every year. Yeah.
而且他说，社员的话是有40个，而且还持续增加中哦，所以他说是有越来越多人对那个桌球感兴趣的。
Yeah. And also, as you can see with the picture on the right, I really like aquascaping, so I have this aquarium that I built in my in the living room, and then so you can see that picture. It's of this kind of, there's a lot of these plants as well as the driftwood, so it kind of replicates like a natural scape inside of the aquarium.
And you actually decorate the whole thing, you arrange the whole thing on your own?
Yeah, so it has a lot of these plants in it, and that makes it the water conditions a lot better, and it also makes it really pretty to look at.
对，就是正奇他其实是喜欢 aquascaping， 就是在那个水族箱里面，然后制造一些可能是丛林感、森林感的，然后顺便搭配这些水中的生物哈，所以他实际上在他们家的客厅对是有一个水族箱的，而且都是他自己去设计去布置的，然后里面会有这些绿色的植栽啦，然后有这些水中生物啊，对，都是他自己的成品，对。
And lastly, I'd like to also talk about the BioSTEM club that I'm the president of. So I can move on to the next slide.
Okay.
So, so this is a club that basically this is a club that I first joined when I wanted to do research, and so over my years in high school, I've become the president for this coming year, and so I really enjoy this club because that's what kind of helped me do my research in the first place. So what I find really important in all of our meetings is to develop scientific skills and also this passion for STEM. And I also, like I mentioned, how important experience is to me. I wanted to make sure all the underclassmen, so the people in 9th, 10th, and 11th grade that are trying to do research are able to get this experience and build their own confidence in these fairs.
刚刚正奇有说，他实际上参加这个所谓的 BioSTEM Club， 就是参加这个生物相关的社团，是因为他自己想要好好的做生物相关的研究啊实验，然后所以他接下来的这一年要变成社长。那他自己觉得在这个社团里头，他学到最多的，除了有去做实验的这些技巧的交流之外，他觉得他有变得对研究，然后对这个领域更有热忱，而且他实际上在透过增加自己的自信的同时，他实际上也帮助了很多的学弟妹，就是比他年轻的，比如说以正奇现在是 junior 的话，比如说对那些 freshman 或是对那些 sophomores， 那他实际上有在帮助他们，看他们的可能是写的那个小论文啦，或者是看他们写的实验报告啦什么的，然后实际上是教学上相长。I mean, when you teach them, they definitely get to learn a lot, but while you're teaching, you definitely also benefit greatly. I mean, in the process, right?
Yeah. So we teach them, and we also help them have more exposure to kind of how to like read these research papers, so they're often really complicated. So we teach them how to approach first reading them, and also making their own posters for their projects to be able to share their findings. And that's really important because having these communication skills for making PowerPoints, presenting your work is really important in the real world. So it's a really big goal for our club to actually give these skills to everyone, that's all the members.
I also find this really precious and important. In Chinese, we say 经验传承. I mean, you get to pass on your experiences and your wisdom to your younger peers. 我觉得刚刚郑琪说到一个很棒的，就是他们在帮助这些学弟妹的时候，除了可以告诉他们说，你要怎么去读这些所谓的科学报告、科学论文啊，然后他也会去帮助这些学弟妹，跟他们说，学弟妹，你的那个参展的海报要这样做哟，然后你的问题要这样回答哟，那你要怎么呈现，你才会比较能够让教授清楚知道你的整个理念啊，还有什么什么的。I definitely find this something really worth doing, and what you're doing is really important, I would say, for yourself and also for your younger peers.
Oh yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So lastly, I'd like to talk about a STEM English discussion group that I'm planning on hosting in the future. So I was host this weekly English group online. So, and it's completely free. And my goals are to talk completely or mostly in English, so people can get these kind of more experience speaking, especially when they're in Taiwan. They might not get so many chances to use English with the native speakers. So I'd like to kind of also have a way of sharing high school experiences, because I'm really interested in learning about what's going on with the Taiwan system, and also exchanging some of this culture. And lastly, I would like to hold these conversations and to practice talking about these scientific topics in an understandable way to basically give everyone a lot of these speaking skills. And it's also really interesting for me to learn from everyone.
郑琪, this is so nice of you. Let me explain it to the students in Taiwan. 大家我们逐渐来到了那个郑琪的分享的尾声，但是我必须要说，郑琪当初在提到这个东西的时候，我个人 as a teacher, I'm definitely very touched, very moved. 郑琪提到了一个我觉得很感人的东西，大家真的是算是什么听到赚到。我到时候也会在社团里面分享跟推广。就是郑琪说他实际上很想做一件事，就是他希望以 weekly 的形式，就是以一个礼拜一次的形式，然后是免费的。他想要自己创造一个 discussion group， 类似一个讨论群组，然后他在这个群组里头，台湾的学生可以问他问题，然后可以跟他聊他们现在在念的或者是正在做的一些科学研究，或者是科学报告或者科学实验。那郑琪觉得这样子的好处是让我们的学生可以用英文对去试着去讲解跟说明他现在在做的事情，然后郑琪也觉得他觉得这样很有趣，因为他可以了解台湾的学生目前在科学相关的方面做了一些什么样的研究，或者做了一些什么样的努力。Ideally, it's supposed to be mutually beneficial, right? For you to get to know the students in Taiwan, and for the students in Taiwan to be able to explain what they're doing in English. But 郑琪, on behalf of all the students in Taiwan, I thank you. I mean, this is really something meaningful, and I would also help promote it. So once you give me the link, I would share it, in my Facebook group, and so that more students would know it and try to participate. Okay. And Zhenqi, when do you plan to start this? I mean, this really meaningful thing. When do you plan to, start your weekly discussion group?
I think I would plan to kind of get this kind of a syllabus prepared so in the next few weeks, so that we kind of have like a topic we can talk about each week, and then so that makes it more structured and also allows for more like I mentioned, structured practice.
郑琪, then please let me know once you have that syllabus with you. 对，所以郑琪刚刚的意思是说，等他规划好每个礼拜可以讨论的主题的时候，他就会公布，然后我也会公布在社团里头，那就鼓励全台湾的高中生都可以来好好把握这个很珍贵的经验。对。郑琪, it's what you're going to do is something really, 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 really nice. 对。
So the final slide is just any questions that anyone might have.
Yeah, actually, I would be asking this on behalf of probably some of the students in Taiwan. I mean, some of my students actually don't really know what they're science majors, but they don't really know exactly what field that they should, go deeper into. I mean, Zhenqi, for you or, the friends that you know, how do you know that this is a field that I want to, go into?
Yeah, so I think it's actually good not to kind of like lock yourself into like a certain field too quickly. I think for me, I know I want to do something medical related, but I'm still really open, like minded to whatever it might be. So like I think it's like as you move through college, you're able to get like a much better understanding of what you're interested both in the classes you take. And you're also kind of able to get that in high school as well. So for me, especially, like my biology and chemistry classes, I really enjoy. However, like for my math and physics, I'm not like that interested in it. So I kind of have this idea, and that's how I get it. Seeing the classes I take, how much I'm enjoying that topic, because I know if I did engineering, I would need to use a lot of this math and physics every day. And while it's not like I hate those subjects, I would just rather do something else. So that's kind of like my reasoning behind moving towards this medical related career. But yeah, I think it's also important to kind of get like a tiny bit of experience in everything, so that you're able to really for sure know what you like.
我觉得郑琪刚刚讲的这个其实很有必要，跟大家好好的讲解。就是我跟郑琪的问的是说，台湾有的学生可能是念了理组没有错，可是好像不太清楚自己到底要进入什么样的科系，进入什么样的领域继续去深造。那郑琪的意思是说，其实不管是你现在读的任何一科，你一定都会有那种比较有热情的或者念得比较有开心的。那郑琪的意思是说，他自己在念那种医疗啦，或者是生物相关的时候都很有趣，然后都很开心。反而是念 math and physics， 就是反而是在读数学相关或者是物理相关的时候，就没有那么的开心，没有那么的愉快。所以他觉得这个不失为一个初步的判断标准，就是你在念每个科目的时候，在做每一个领域的研究的时候，你到底哪个领域你念起来是比较有热情的，然后你是比较有兴趣的，他觉得这个算是一个很好的规准。郑琪 I was about to ask you, but now I get to ask you, which is good. I mean, when you join those competitions, you must have some extent of anxiety or nervousness. How do you deal with that? I mean, like students would, or sometimes they would say to me, if they get to do an oral report, or when they have to explain their project to the teachers, they get tongue-tied or they mentally freak out. I mean, how do you deal with stress and how do you deal with anxiety? Can you share your personal experiences?
Yeah. So of course, having this anxiety is really common when you really care about something, and that's what I find is really good. It's actually good that you have this anxiety, because that means you really care about it and you want to do well. So the thing I use to kind of address this issue is practice. That's the most important tool. So like I mentioned, my first year at ISF, I did not present well because I didn't do enough practice. So of course, when that first judge comes up and starts talking to you about your project, it's a little, like you're a little, like you mentioned, tongue-tied, and you can't really enunciate properly. But like once you're like halfway through the speech and you've been talking, and and then like you also have to know that the other people aren't just out to get you. It's not like like they're not out to get you. So it's you can feel a little bit more relaxed once you like kind of start talking. So it'll feel more smooth later on. Like after a few judges have passed.
郑琪 I totally agree with you. 我觉得郑琪刚刚说到的很棒，因为我问郑琪说，不管是在参加这任何的比赛，尤其是这么大型的比赛，一定都会有焦虑的也一定都会有紧张的所以我刚刚实际上是请郑琪分享他自己的经验。那郑琪刚刚说到了一个 keyword， 一个关键字 practice。 对，因为其实从他自己参加了2次 ISEF， 他就知道说，实际上练习很重要，你就是要去练习说明跟分享你的东西。然后，因为我刚刚有跟郑琪说，有的学生会 tongue tie， 就是会感觉舌头打结，就是好像讲不出什么东西。You definitely have a lot in your head, but you don't know how to translate it into words and to actually express them to the people who are listening。所以我觉得刚刚郑琪说的很棒，所以大家如果真的有一些口头的报告的机会啦，或者真的像郑琪一样去参展，你必须要去说明你的理念的时候，我觉得多练习就对了，就是你要练到非常非常的熟悉。I think it's the same with your college entrance exam. I mean, with your SAT, you definitely have to practice a lot so that you get to not freak out. I mean, when you take the real test.
Yeah, I did a lot of these practice tests before. So the most important thing is replicating the whole environment. So I would print out the full test and then just take it by myself with the exact like time frame that's needed in order for it, like when the first time I take it, it's not like I'm just suddenly in like a completely foreign. I think that also applies not just to this academic level, but also to playing piano. So, like I mentioned, sometimes I play piano for others, and so it's really easy to like get your fingers kind of a little bit like numb and you're like shaking. But once you get started and once you practice enough, you're kind of like I would say a little bit on like not fully, but a little bit on autopilot, so that you're not like it doesn't affect you as much. Like the stress doesn't affect you as much because you've done it so many times that even if you're really scared, you're still gonna do it like automatically.
郑琪刚刚讲的这个，我觉得也很值得大家参考。因为郑琪，我知道郑琪已经考完他的 SAT 了，就是所谓的美国大学入学考试。然后我就问郑琪说，是不是真的只要练得够多，就比较不容易焦虑？然后郑琪说没有错，他说他实际上在平常在写 SAT 的模拟试题的时候，他也都是印出来的，然后比照正式考试的时间限制。所以我觉得这个也是要提醒如果你是高2学生的话，那你接下来这个暑假你要写这些模拟试题的时候，你也应该要是直接比照正式的考试，然后每一次的练习都是要计时的。然后刚刚郑琪有说，如果他的钢琴他知道他是要弹给别人听的，他实际上也会练习无数次。他说已经到了 autopilot 类似自动导航的那个程度了，就是你已经熟练到那个东西好像可以感觉你的手可以自己去运作，对，然后你都不用太管它。不然实际上如果你的练习不足的话，刚刚郑琪有说 your fingers may become numb， 就是你的手指头可能会变得不听使唤，然后好像失去知觉那样子，你完全没有办法控制它们。所以郑琪的意思是说不管是读书或者考试，其实是任何事情都是 practice makes perfect， 就是你就是要练越多越好。I think that definitely corresponds with the 10,000 hour theory that I've been hearing a lot in the past years. 郑琪 also I would like to know because I heard that when you joined ISEF, all the spending was actually sponsored by the state government. Is that true? I mean, you don't really have to spend. Can you elaborate on that? Because that's actually something that I think Taiwanese students would find interesting. 要跟大家先说一下，我刚刚问郑琪的是什么？因为我有听说，就在美国，他们不管是哪一州，实际上可以参加 ISEF 这种全国等级的科展的时候，所有的费用都是州政府出钱的，因为他们都会找赞助商。So, 郑琪 can you explain a little bit like the cost and like how much is your accommodation or transportation and who's paying for that and everything? Please.
Yeah, sure. So, in terms of like the cost per like person on the ISEF team, it's over like $1,600 just for the hotel rooms alone, and also to register yourself. I think it's around $500 to $800. So, and that's not including like the bus ride there, which obviously would cost more. And they also give us a stipend. Our regional fair gave us a stipend of I think $150 to spend on food there. So basically, I didn't really have to pay anything to go, and I think that was really nice of them because to send someone to ISF, the state like science fair organization gets a lot of these sponsors, and they are really helpful because they want us to succeed. So they basically fund for everything so that everyone that wants to go can go. Yeah.
对，因为刚刚郑琦说的，就比如说 accommodation 哈，就是他们去住的旅馆，对，然后他说实际上旅馆的总花费可能是$1600，也就是大概乘以30，所以大概快5万块台币的住宿费，然后是州政府出的，然后去当地的交通也是州政府出的，然后在当地的 stipend， 就是他们比如说在当地的一些吃啊这些花费啊也是政府出的，所以他说基本上你只要成为了 ISEF 的那个州代表，你实际上政府就会帮你出 ，we're talking about maybe 3,000-4,000 in total, right?
Yeah, around 3,000, I would say. Yeah.
哦，所以等于说为每个选手，州政府实际上会出大概$3,000，就是大概快10万块台币，让他们可以安心的去参赛。所以我觉得，如果在台湾，如果我们的国际选手对也都能够得到政府的赞助的话，我觉得大家就可以更放心。I mean, you can definitely focus all your attention on your project and your, presentation.
Yeah, on the competition, so you don't have to think about the cost at all.
郑琦 would you try to join ISEF for the third time? Would you want to? I mean, or you've done enough and that's it. You don't want to have anything to do with ISEF anymore.
So I think I will try for a third time. Not because like I won best place or anything. I just want to like have that experience one last time my senior year and kind of like help the other people on my team, maybe the younger people, get the placements that they want.
因为我刚刚问郑琦说是不是已经受够 ISEF， 还是实际上会想要报第3次？那郑琦的意思是说，他可以很乐意可以再尝试第3次，而且他自己会觉得说，如果他去参加第3次的话，那他就有更多的经验可以跟学弟妹分享。对 ，That's so generous of you, and I definitely wish you luck. I mean, on your third ISEF, hopefully you're going to place even better this time. And 郑琦, to wrap up our live stream today, I would like to know about your short-term and long-term goals in the future. I mean, what do you plan to do this summer, and what kind of major would you like to choose in college? And do you look forward to the application process, or are you anxious? Or can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So, in terms of what I'm doing over the summer this year, I'm taking a class at the Purdue University near me. So I'm taking a math class there. And also I'm again working on the research for the next year's science fair. And then in terms of what I want to major in the future, I think I would like to either do biochemistry or molecular biology, so pre-med track kind of. And talking about kind of like what I think about the admissions process later on, in the US it's a really kind of like tedious and really long process, and sometimes I would say it's really up to just luck at the end of the day, because they get so many applications. You just because that there's someone better, or there's someone that they think is more suited for that college. So it's kind of in the US up to the lottery system whether you get into a college or not. So that's why for me personally, I'm not having any kind of dream school. I'm just going to apply to several of them to see which ones I get into. Yeah.
郑琦刚刚说，其实在美国所谓的大学的那个申请的过程，他自己觉得比较偏 luck， 就是有运气的成分在。而且刚刚郑琦说比较像是 lottery， 就比较像是在买乐透。所以郑琦的意思是说，他并没有所谓的 dream school， 就是没有所谓的梦幻学校。那郑琦当然会尽他的所能去申请好几个，但是对于最后能够上什么，他倒是没有那么的执着或者是强求。那郑琦的意思是说，短程目标，也就是这个暑假的话，他是会去他们家附近的那个 Purdue University 就是普渡大学去好好的上课。那他也会同时去做，因为他想要参加第3次的 ISEF， 所以他也会继续做他的那个 scientific research。那在这个同时，他实际上也确实要开始他的那个大学准备。然后他刚刚用的字叫做 tedious， 就是非常的磨人的。那这个是一个很可怕的过程。但是其实台湾的大家也不轻松就是了。但是大家也要知道，美国的大学申请也是非常可怕的一件事情。那郑琦自己会觉得说，他如果后来念的是 biochemistry 啊，比如说生化相关啊，或者是医学相关，他都很 OK 哈。但是要先跟大家说，因为刚刚郑琦说了一个字叫做 pre-med 哈，就是所谓的医科先修哈，因为他们实际上是郑琦。As far as I know, you have to first get your bachelor's degree before you can apply for medical school, right?
Yeah, you have to do a 4-year undergraduate of pre-med, so you take those courses, and then you apply, you take the MCAT, which is the test that kind of determines, it's kind of like the SAT for medical schools, and then after that you go to a 4-year medical school, and then after that you do your residency.
所以要跟大家说，就是不管你有没有想要念医科，就念医学院，就是你大学4年都实际上是要先读的，所以大学4年如果你已经有打算未来念医科的话，那你就是先修一些 pre-med， 就是刚刚那个郑琦说的，就是跟医学相关的一些课，然后你这样子就可以在大学4年结束的时候去考那个 MCAT， 就是所谓的医学院的入学考试。那如果通过了那个 MCAT， 就是那种医学院的入学考试的话，那你就可以在大学4年毕业之后再读4年的医科 medical school， 然后在那个4年的医科毕业的时候，你再去做你的 residency， 就是再去做你的住院医生啊，然后你开始去走医生这一条路。所以这个是跟台湾稍微有点不一样的，对，所以要跟大家说明一下。郑琦 I thank you a lot. I mean for doing this with me. I mean, for the students in Taiwan, I would say they would definitely benefit a lot. And I also look forward to promoting your weekly discussion group in my Facebook group. Yeah. So, Zhenqi, I wish you all the luck and I wish you a fabulous summer and a not so painful college application process. And I also look forward to maybe live streaming with you again, maybe. I mean, after you're done with your application process and you can finally talk with me again, maybe.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, I'd love to do that. Yeah.
Zhenqi, so I thank you today.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'll say goodbye now.
OK，
对，拜拜，对大家，那我们今天到这里哦，所以很谢谢大家，对。